What's going on, everybody? I am Winston A. Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blerd, and this is the Blerd Breakdown, the pop culture show that lets you know what happened was. Now, if this is your first time here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know every time I'm dropping content, man. And please be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoy what we're getting into, man. So I'm going to jump straight into it. Let's go ahead and talk about a story we knew was coming, man. We just didn't know it was going to be coming this soon. Diddy has been arrested by the feds after a grand jury indictment late Monday night. So this is coming from TMZ at about 6:48 p.m. Pacific time. Diddy was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York Monday night, TMZ has learned. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying and they arrested him. We have unconfirmed reports the feds are searching his hotel room. We're told Diddy was taken into the FBI field office in Manhattan. It appears the action was taken in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses that led to the search warrants being issued and executed at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. As we reported, a grand jury has been hearing testimony from various accusers over the last few months. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilio, tells TMZ, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the black community." Agnifilio adds, "He is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court." With an updated 7:13 p.m. Pacific time, law enforcement source tells TMZ Diddy's arrest was scheduled for Tuesday, but something happened to cause the feds to move in a day earlier. However, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams says federal agents took him in based on a sealed indictment filed by the Southern District of New York. Holy crap. All right, man, look. Hearing about this arrest, I don't think anybody is necessarily surprised. We've all seen the video at this point of what he was doing to Cassie. We've heard plenty of the stories of the things that he has done over the years. Everybody has alluded one way to another about what going to a Diddy party means. Hell, man, I'm upset because there's a sketch that I wrote and filmed a couple years ago, and I finished it, then I lost it, so I had to start re-editing it. And now there's a Diddy joke in there that I'm gonna have to like find a way to bleep out. I can't reshoot it or anything like that, so I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna work around that, man. But I say all that to say, the veil has been pulled back on who Diddy is. People are being very honest about what's been going on with him, man. What I think is going to be really interesting is to see who does Diddy take down with him. I think when you're in this kind of situation, when you've seen as much as you have, when you have as much power as you have, there's no way that he's going to go down and not potentially drag a bunch of people with him. I'm very curious to see who gets caught up in the middle of this. And who knows? Maybe he is quiet. Maybe he doesn't snitch, and you know, he just goes down by himself. But it'll be interesting to see. And I really don't believe that he's going to be innocent in all this. But you know, if his lawyer's actually telling the truth, if they've really been cooperating, and he can prove that this is all too much, I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. I believe that Diddy definitely did that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. There's too much. There's too many people. The rumor has been swirling forever. Oof. Let alone the fact, man, that like, look, just on like a minor tip, a lot of you know that I worked for Revolt for a short period of time. We were part of like a spec script, a pilot show that I still never got paid for. To this day, owed like a few G's. Still never got paid for that. So, you know, this is going to sound silly and like I've got some sort of bias, but like if that little minor element to this billionaire couldn't have been taken care of one way or the other, then like that's like on the small end. It's kind of one of those things when you see somebody lie about something super small, it's like, Jesus, if you can lie about that, then you could lie about anything. And so it's kind of the same thing. If he's able to screw over, like, you know, I was what, maybe 25, 26, you know, and in my mind, it was like my first big break, like hosting and all that stuff. And he didn't pay me or any of my colleagues, man. Like, I I would not be surprised that all of the things that have been said are true. But, all that being said, I want to know what you think, man. What do you think about the whole situation? Do you think Diddy did it or did he not do it? Let me know down in the comments, man. Let's go to the next story. The Emmys were this past Sunday, and it was absolutely crazy seeing some incredible wins, some historic wins, records set, all sorts of stuff. Now, this is from Andrew Dalton from AP News, reporting on the Emmys. Shogun had an historic win in an epic 18 Emmy first season. Hack scored an upset for Best Comedy on what was still a 4-trophy night for The Bear, and Baby Reindeer had a holiday at an Emmy Awards that had some surprising swerves. Shogun, the FX series about power struggles in feudal Japan, won Best Drama Series. Hiroyuki Sanada won Best Actor in a Drama, and Anna Sawai won Best Actress. Sanada was the first Japanese actor to win an Emmy, and Sawai became the second only moments later. I'm going to say that they both were the first Japanese actors because that's just the order of the show. So F all that. They are simultaneously the first Japanese actors to win Emmys, which is incredible. Shogun taught me when we work together, we can make miracles, Sanada said in his acceptance speech from the stage of the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. Along with 14 Emmys it claimed at the precursor Creative Arts Emmys, it had an unmatched performance with 18 overall for one season. Hacks was a surprise winner of its first Best Comedy Series award, topping The Bear, which most had expected to take it after big wins earlier in the evening. Jean Smart won her third Best Actress in a Comedy Award for the third season of Max's Hacks, in which her stand-up comic character Deborah Vance tries to make it in late-night TV. Smart has 6 Emmys overall. Despite losing on the night's biggest comedy prize after winning for its first season at January's strike-delayed ceremony, FX's The Bear star Jeremy Allen White won Best Actor in a Comedy for the second straight year, and Eben Moss-Bacharach repeated as Best Supporting Actor. And Liza Colón-Zayas was the surprise Best Supporting Actress winner over a competition that included Meryl Streep becoming the first Latina to win in the category. To all the Latinas who are looking at me, she said, her eyes welling with tears, keep believing and vote. Netflix's darkly quirky Baby Reindeer won Best Limited Series. Creator and star Richard Gadd won for his leading actor and his writing, and Jessica Gunning, who played his tormentor, won Best Supporting Actress. Accepting this series award, Gadd urged the makers of television to take chances. The only constant across any success in television is good storytelling, he said. Good storytelling that speaks to our times, so take risks, push boundaries, explore the uncomfortable, dare to fail in order to achieve. Baby Reindeer is based on a one-man stage show in which Gadd describes being sexually abused along with other emotional struggles. Accepting that award, he said, no matter how bad it gets, it always gets better. The Associated Press does not typically name people who say they have been sexually abused unless they come forward publicly, as Gadd has. Jodie Foster won her first Emmy to go with her 2 Oscars when she took Best Actress in a Limited Series for True Detective Night Country. Foster played a salty police chief investigating a mass killing in the round-the-clock dark of an Alaskan winter on the HBO show. Greg Berlanti, a producer on shows including Dawson's Creek and Everwood, received the Television Academy's Governor's Award for his career-long contributions to improving LGBTQ visibility on television. He talked about a childhood when there was little such visibility. There wasn't a lot of gay characters on television back then, and I was a closeted gay kid, Berlanti said. It's hard to describe how lonely it was at the time. The long decade of traditional broadcast TV at the Emmys continued with 0 wins between the 4 broadcast networks. In the monologue that opened the ABC broadcast, Dan Levy, who hosted with his father and Schitt's Creek co-star Eugene Levy, called the Emmys broadcast TV's biggest night for honoring movie stars on streaming services. Though, other than Foster, movie stars didn't fare too well at the Emmys. Her fellow Oscar winners Streep and Robert Downey Jr. had been among the favorites, but came up empty. Robert Downey Jr., I have a post review in my house, said Lamorne Morris, who beat Downey for Best Supporting Actor in a Limited Series, said from the stage as he accepted his first Emmy. Let's go, Winston Bishop. Shout out to all the Winstons out there, man. The evening managed to meet many expectations, but included several swerves, like a win for Hacks. We were really shocked, said the co-creator Jen Statsky. We were truly really surprised, and Shogun got off to a quiet start, missing on early awards and not getting its first trophy until past the halfway point. Still shattered the record for Emmys for one season previously held in 2008 by the limited series John Adams. Sanada is a 63-year-old longtime screen star whose name is little known outside of Japan, even if his face is through Hollywood films like The Last Samurai and John Wick Chapter 4. Sawai, 32, was born in New Zealand and moved to Japan as a child. Is significantly less known in the U.S. She wept when she accepted Best Actress. When you saw me cry on stage, it was probably the 12th time I cried today, she said backstage. It was just a mixed emotions, wanting everyone to win all that. I may cry again right now. The Bear finished second with 11 overall Emmys, including Best Acting wins at the Creative Arts Ceremony for Jamie Lee Curtis and John Bernthal. The Levies, in their opening monologue, mocked the show for being in the comedy category. In honor of the Bear, we will be making no jokes, Eugene Levy said to Laughs. Elizabeth Debicki took Best Supporting Actress in a Drama for playing the Princess Diana at the end of her life in the 6th and final season of The Crown. Playing that part based on the unparalleled, incredible human being has been a great privilege, Debicki said in her acceptance. It's been a gift. Several awards were presented by themed teams from TV history, including sitcom dads George Lopez, Damon Wayans, and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, and TV moms Meredith Baxter, Connie Britton, and Susan Kelechi Watson. Some of the other winners off the top of my head, John Oliver won for Last Week Tonight. That whole show won for Best Scripted Variety Series, which he actually gave a really funny speech about unfortunately losing his dog, but they tried to play him off, and he called him out for it. The Daily Show won as well. Those are the ones that are popping off at the top of my head. But yeah, let's talk about it, man. First of all, I just genuinely want to give a huge shout out to Lamorne Morris. That one is huge for me. I loved his work in New Girl, loved everything he's done afterwards, and there's something to be said about an actor who's been around the block, who's been doing their thing, getting roles here and there, but never get the respect that they fully deserve, and he is somebody who is so incredibly talented. I don't watch Fargo, but I just know how talented he is. That is a huge win. Same thing for Liza or Lisa. I don't know how she pronounces it. I apologize. But for the Bear, again, she is incredible on that show. The whole cast is incredible on that show. But I really, really enjoy her work. And I think she really stepped it up a notch in season 2 for sure. Whole cast did. But she specifically really, really kind of got me. And then Shogun, man. That's huge. I'll admit, I still have not had time to sit down and watch the show. I'm that type of person that if once it was determined I wasn't going to cover it on my channel and I wasn't covering it for Christian or anything like that, I have to be in the mood to start a show. If I got to do it for work, I'll just do it. I'll just power through even if I'm not in the mood. But a show, especially one as heavy as Shogun, which has been compared to Game of Thrones as far as the incredible writing and acting and drama and all that, I know it's fantastic. I even have a friend who was in the show who I met way back when I started out here and was doing improv. He's an older Japanese gentleman and got his opportunity to do some stuff too, man. So, shout out to Juzo, omedetou. But I say all that to say, man, I am both happy to hear that the Emmys had a better broadcast than ever. I am annoyed that streamers have gotten this much of a foothold at this point, but this is the world that we're in. And all that really does is mean technically we have more opportunities for jobs, but at the same time, you listen to any analysts and the streamers by their nature have started to kill the TV industry and what really made them work properly. I really hope that they're going to balance themselves out, but at least at this particular juncture, there's a lot going on there. So it's very funny to me to that point that no broadcast television won anything. That's crazy because Abbott is a fantastic show, and I'm surprised that it didn't win any stuff in comedy. And to me, I love The Bear. It does kind of piss me off that it keeps getting put in the comedic category. There are funny moments, but that is a drama. Let's be real. Let's be really effing real. The anxiety that I get and the tears and all that kind of stuff that comes from watching it in certain episodes and scenes, I'm not laughing at that 80-90% of the time. You know what I'm saying? I am genuinely distraught. So let's call a spade a spade. It's a drama. If you need to put some sort of third category and find a dramedy or something or dark comedy, fine. But stop this. Honestly, it's almost offensive, especially because when you look at the fact that I've talked about this before, comedy as far as TV is dying. It's actually really sad. Like, I challenge you to name 10 comedies on TV right now. You might be able to pull it off when you throw streamers in there, honestly, but as far as like network TV and even cable, it's pretty limited. Some of the staples that we've had, it's either animated, so like, but those tend to be some of the staples we already had. So South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy. You can throw, Rick and Morty in there, things like that. But like the days of like a network having, either a whole night block of comedy, like from start to finish, or a few different ones, is kind of over. It's a lot of procedurals. There's a resurgence on reality TV because it's cheap to make and all that kind of stuff. But like, nobody's taking chances on a number of Abbotts. And if they do take chances on sitcoms and stuff like that at this point, they don't give them a lot of time to really catch their audience. They either get shifted off to the streamers right away, which again, people can't afford to have so many different streamers. You know what I'm saying? Like, only those of us that are in the industry kind of that have to have it for work, or super rich people have every streamer. But nobody has Paramount and Peacock and Amazon and Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and Max and MGM Plus and all these endless number of streamers, man. And so it just gets frustrating because for comedy to work, sure, a niche group is important, but you kind of need to be able to get a decent size of people watching. You know what I'm saying? Dramas can have second life on those extended runs and stuff, but like comedies, you need time to run with those characters and get to know them better and all that. That's why Abbott works, because we get that, sometimes 15 to 24 episodes to learn more about these characters and fall in love with them and all that. That's why we love The Office and Parks and Rec and everything else like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy to hear that Hacks won. I really hope that we get to see more true comedies come out. And again, this is not shitting on The Bear. I love The Bear. It's just not a comedy in my opinion. But I want to know what you think. Are you on the same page with me with that? Are you excited about the wins? Who was your favorite win? Let me know all about that in the comments. Let's go to the next story. This next one is sad to say. I don't know why this is happening almost once an episode. We truly are losing recipes, but Tito Jackson of the Jackson 5 has died at 70 years old. This is the story from Brian P.D. Hannon from AP News. Tito Jackson was one of the brothers who made up the beloved pop group, the Jackson 5, and he has died at 70. Jackson was the third of 9 children, including global superstars Michael and Janet Jackson, and was part of a music-making family whose songs have sold hundreds of millions of copies. It's with heavy hearts that we announce that our beloved father, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Tito Jackson, is no longer with us. We are shocked, saddened, and heartbroken. Our father was an incredible man who cared about everyone and their well-being. His sons TJ, Taj, and Terrell Jackson said in a statement posted on Instagram late Sunday. The Jackson 5, among the last of the major groups launched through Berry Gordy's Motown empire, included teenage and preteen brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and lead singer Michael. Gordy signed them up in the late 1960s when Motown's power was slipping and tastes were shifting from the slick pop soul of Motown's prime to the funkier sounds of Sly and the Family Stone. I Want You Back, the group's breakout hit, was openly modeled on Sly and the Family Stone and topped the charts in '69. The Jacksons followed with 3 more number 1 songs, ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There, and also hit the top 5 with Mama's Pearl and Never Can Say Goodbye. I never can say goodbye, no, 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 oh! Whew. Should not have done that this late at night, man. Probably woke up my girlfriend. Some call their music bubblegum soul. By mid-decade, the Jackson 5's appeal was faded, and the group, except Jermaine, moved to Epic and renamed themselves the Jacksons. Their latter hits included Enjoy Yourself, Lovely One, and Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. Michael Jackson became a multi-platinum solo artist in the 80s, and his collaborations with his brothers became rare after the 1984 album Victory. Jackson 5 was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997, introduced at the ceremony by longtime friend Diana Ross. Days before his death, Jackson posted a message on his Facebook page from Germany on September 11th where he visited a memorial to Michael Jackson with his brothers. For our show in Munich, our brothers Jackie, Marlon, and I visited the beautiful memorial dedicated to our beloved brother Michael Jackson. We're deeply grateful for this special place that honors not only his memory, but also our shared legacy. Thank you for keeping his spirit alive, Jackson wrote. Jackson was the last of 9 siblings to release a solo project with his 2016 debut, Tito Time. He released a song in 2017, One Way Street, and told AP in 2019 that he was working on his sophomore album. Jackson said he purposely held back from pursuing a solo career because he wanted to focus on raising his 3 sons, who formed their own music group, 3T. Jackson's website offers a link to a single featuring 3T and Stevie Wonder titled Love One Another. Jackson is also survived by his brothers Jermaine, Randy, Marlon, and Jackie, his sisters Janet, Rebby, and Latoya, and their mother Catherine. Their father died in 2018. All right, man. Look, I'll be honest that I don't know as much about the individual Jacksons outside of Michael and Janet. I obviously know the group Jackson 5. I know their songs exceptionally well. Being raised by a black mother who was, that was like her, childhood, teenage years, all of her 20s. Like, of course I'm going to know all about the Jacksons and Motown and everything, man. And just what they mean to the black community. It was already painful losing Michael. As we continue to lose, as I said, we're losing recipes. The more we lose these icons that really help shape the golden age, you could argue, of black culture and art, it's soul crushing, no pun intended. And so I'm genuinely just hoping that, like, going forward, that we just appreciate the, our uncles and our aunties and what they brought us over that time, and that we continue to live in their legacy, man. And I losing James Earl Jones was painful. Losing Fat Man Scoop was painful. It's painful to lose another one of the legendary Jacksons. So sending healing energy to the Jackson family. Rest in peace, Tito. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Please leave a comment with your thoughts about losing another one of the legendary Jackson 5. On to the next story. A producer for The Penguin addresses controversial decision to change the title villain's name to Ozcobb. This is from Josh Wilding at Comic Book Movie. Just a couple days away from The Penguin premiering on HBO Max, and while the DC series has received glowing reviews from critics, there's one creative decision which is bugging a lot of fans. In the comics, The Penguin is known as Oswald Cobblepot. It's a pretty over-the-top name, yes, and the Batman shortened it to Oz for the sake of realism, given what a grounded world filmmaker Matt Reeves has created for his Dark Knight. However, in The Penguin, it's confirmed that the villain's new name in this Batverse is simply Ozcobb. That's not just a shortening of the full version either. That's a completely different name for the character. Never got around to changing his name in the comics like they did with the Riddler, going from Edward Nygma to Edward Nashton, from an unreal name to a real name, producer Dylan Clark said in the latest SFX magazine. By doing that, they grounded the character. We had a lot of conversations with DC Comics and with Jim Lee, president, publisher, and chief creative officer, he continued. They had thought about changing his name at some point, but had never done it. Matt asked, "Can I call the character Ozcobb?" And Jim said, "Absolutely." So we got a blessing from the king himself. That small change of the name allowed us to look at this character in a grounded way. Writer and showrunner Lauren LaFranc added, "Matt's created new canon in his film, and I'm creating new canon in this show. We have characters you're familiar with, but there's a different spin on them. I felt like in Gotham City that Matt created in his film, Cobblepot seemed less of a real person in the way that Cobb is a real last name. He's a gangster, and it just felt more correct. The justification is hard to argue with, but is it a necessary change? That's what fans on social media are now debating, with the majority seemingly arguing that it's a silly alteration and one which goes against the comics in a way a lot of people don't appreciate." Let's talk about this. It feels completely unnecessary. The way you can ground it, honestly, is just by having grounded characters. If you want to just call, if you just want to call him Oz or Ozzy or whatever, I understand Cobblepot sounds kind of ridiculous, but like it doesn't sound over the top to anybody that follows Batman. Like, that's just part of the lore. It just feels unnecessary and kind of out of touch. Like, why? It's not like it's detracting. I'll give you potentially Edward Nygma, like, But even that, the whole idea of Enigma and all that, like that yes, a little goofy, but it adds to kind of the thing. If maybe he wanted to change his name to be Enigma or something like that, I guess I could see that. We've seen that happen before, and where there are multiple aliases. But just the idea of the Cobblepots and their lost wealth and their greed and all that to just Ozcobb, it sounds stupid. I'm gonna be real with you. I have super crazy respect for Matt Reeves and what the Batman is and the other movies that he's done and the things he's produced and all that. Super crazy amount of respect. Ozcobb sounds stupid. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's how I feel. It sounds dumb. It's actually taking me out more, to be honest with you. I don't know. Okay, I guess. I mean, look, I doubt it's going to affect the show that much. Everything that I've heard from the reviews of it, and I'll be reviewing it very soon as it comes out here, I'm sure it is still fantastic. It just, okay, I guess. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm annoyed because it feels unnecessary. I guess that's it. That's where I'm at. But let me know if you think I'm off base here in the comments. Let's just go to the next story. Oh, man. Beau DeMayo remains being messy and has now revealed the details of his Raid-inspired script for the MCU Blade reboot that was rejected. This is from Mark Cassidy over at Comic Book Movie. Beau DeMayo will likely be best known for working and being fired as showrunner for Disney Plus's animated series X-Men 97, but he also did a pass on the script for an earlier take on Marvel Studios' troubled Blade reboot. DeMayo has now taken to social media to share some of his concepts for the Daywalker's MCU debut, or what would have been his debut before Wesley Snipes appeared in Deadpool and Wolverine, and, like a lot of fans, he wonders why it's been so difficult for the studio to come up with a compelling premise. Take a John Wick movie, give mobsters fangs, swap Keanu for Ali, hand him a sword and not a daughter who makes him fret over swinging the hero's name. Wick cost $20 million to make, add $10 million for vampire/Darkhold magic VFX, and you have a $30 million Marvel movie. I don't get why it's been so hard, he went on. Studio's broken. I wrote 3 drafts and a dozen outlines in 3 impossible months. My fave was the Raid-style treatment where Blade finds himself defending a rundown tenement of humans from Varney's vamp hordes until daylight. Took place over one night. Blade learns from Tenant Jericho Drum that Varney's attacking because the female tenant, who Blade sort of fancies, has been magically impregnated with Lilith by tenants who secretly Darkhold cultists. Think 30 Days of Night meets Rosemary's Baby. DeMayo's outline certainly sounds interesting. Blade has been plagued with production woes ever since it was first announced over 4 years ago, going through a number of directors and writers. The project finally seemed to be back on track after a recent update claimed that shooting was set to commence this fall, but we recently learned that director Jan DeMayo will no longer helm the movie. Despite these setbacks, the movie is still set to be moving forward with Mahershala Ali attached to star. Ali's last update during an interview with Entertainment Weekly was a positive one. We're working on it. That's the best I could tell you. I'm really encouraged with the direction of the project. I think we'll be back at it relatively soon. I'm sincerely encouraged in terms of where things are at and who's on board and who's leading the way as far as writing of the script and directing and all that, he added. So that's the extent of what I can tell you. It's currently set to hit theaters November 7th, 2025. Yeah, I doubt it at the rate that we're currently going. Look, man, I actually don't hate that premise. Potentially kind of reminds me of Assault on Precinct 32, I think is the 42. I can't remember. Probably messing up that name, but I like the idea of kind of throwing the raid in there and you know, trying to fight off vampires all night. That sounds pretty cool. It's interesting to see that Beau DeMayo really is just kind of let the muzzle off as far as just telling everything, all the business, and I wonder if it's going to make this lawsuit he's up against just worse and worse and worse as it goes. But, you know, he's claiming that they were essentially running a prison camp over at Disney and that they're broken, and we talked about this a little bit and what would have happened with the Doctor Strange 2 originally and how that just kind of went sideways. The funny thing is it feels like everything that he is implying feels like where Disney was kind of at and why we've seen such chaos up to this point. But if you notice, it really does feel like Feige hunkered down and they really have put a lot of energy into writing the ship. Hence all the rewrites and reshoots for Captain America Brave New World. hence the restructuring of the order in which some of this stuff is going off, hence even Blade not even getting to the proper spot because they really want to make sure things are done right this time, instead of kind of the idea that Chapek was bringing in of throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks, and literally everything. So streaming and giving me a million shows and movies and all this, and it was just too much to keep up with, and the quality was dropping. It really feels like things are very succinct moving forward, and I'm happy to hear that, and I hope that it remains that way. But what do you think? Do you like Beau DeMayo's pitch for Blade? You're happy they're doing something else? Do you think that Marvel is getting it together? Or do you think Beau's onto something and that they really are just a dumpster fire right now? Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's go to our next story. A'ja Wilson has become the first WNBA player to reach 1,000 points in a season as the Aces topped the Suns on Sunday. A'ja Wilson became the first WNBA player to score 1,000 points in a season when she finished with 29 in the Las Vegas Aces' 84-71 win over the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. Wilson hit a pull-up from the elbow with 2 minutes left in the game to reach the mark. Earlier this week, the Aces star broke the single-season scoring record that Jewel Lloyd had set last year. Las Vegas called timeout about 30 seconds later, and her teammates mobbed Wilson. She then went out onto the court and acknowledged a loud ovation from the crowd, clapping her hands. The Aces, 25-13, hold a one-game lead over Seattle for the number 4 seed in the playoffs and home court advantage in that series. Las Vegas has won 7 of its last 8 games, getting hot right at the end there. Connecticut, with a 27-11 record, trails the Minnesota Lynx by 2 games for the number 2 seed. The two teams play in Connecticut on Tuesday. I'm going to be honest with you, man. There's a reason why, mad respect to what Caitlin Clark has pulled off this season. If I'm not mistaken, she shattered the assist record. She also shattered the turnover record this year, but is doing things that we haven't seen a rookie do since Candace Parker, and is doing them in a slightly different style point way in the fact that she pulls up from logo. So shout out to her. But where I got really annoyed, to be honest with you, is people being like, man, she's in the conversation with MVP. Nobody was in the conversation with that for MVP with A'ja Wilson. A'ja was an unstoppable force and an immovable object this season. Period. Period. She has no peers, if we're being honest with you. She has none. In the same way that when Michael was at peak, ain't nobody touching Michael. When LeBron was at peak, ain't nobody touching LeBron. There's other people that are doing crazy things and rookies coming into the league. You might have a Derrick Rose come in and win an MVP that year. But Derrick Rose, even if he is the MVP and that happens, doesn't make him better than LeBron. I'm sorry. It's just not. Michael maybe didn't win MVP every single year, but Michael remained the best player in basketball, even if somebody else won the MVP title. It's just how it goes, man. Even to the point where had, say, Luka won MVP instead of Joker, I would have believed that Luka was the best player in the league and in the world, but arguments most people would say is that it was still Joker, and that maybe the voting was just because you're trying to mix stuff up. I say all that to say Caitlin Clark's going to win a bajillion MVP awards. Let's get it real. And there's going to be a fight between her and A'ja going forward, but Caitlin was learning how to play on a professional level. She did it very quickly, mind you, but she was learning how to play on a professional level and was not in, again, Stewie wasn't really keeping up with A'ja. Sabrina Ionescu wasn't really keeping up. Jonquel Jones, who was in the conversation. Arike. Nobody was doing what A'ja did this year. And the fact that she's the first player to hit 1,000 and nobody's even close to following up on that. I want to say Caitlin, for example, when people again want to say she's in the conversation, is at 740 something, which is incredible for a rookie. But that's a solid, almost a full 250 behind by the time this is all said and done, man. Because there's only I want to say a game or 2 left for each of them. So she locked up Rookie of the Year. Let's call that what it is. But this is about A'ja. A'ja won this MVP award, or will win this MVP award, in an incredible fashion. I love that photo that I showed you was a similar to Wilt's 100 sign that he held up with the 1,000. That is so freaking cool, man. She is amazing. And if you don't follow her on social media, you definitely need to, because she's fucking hilarious. She's absolutely hysterical, man. All right. With that, let's get on to our last story. Again, let me know down in the comments what you think about A'ja. All that being said, man, let me know down in the comments what you think about Asia and her incredible accomplishment. And let's get on to our last story. Britney Mahomes is now questioning her support of Donald Trump after his blistering takedown of Taylor Swift. Left shaken to her core, she said. This is from James Vitsuka from Daily Mail. Britney Mahomes is deeply bothered by Donald Trump's very public attack on her close friend Taylor Swift, according to sources who claim the Kansas City Chiefs wag, or a wife and or girlfriend of player, is questioning her support for the former president. Brittany, who has been married to Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes since 2022, sparked a liberal meltdown last month when she liked to post about Trump 78 on social media. Weeks later, Taylor, 34, publicly endorsed Kamala Harris's bid for president, an action that drove a reported 338,000 visits to the federal voter registration website after she shared a link on Instagram. Trump hit back in a predictably blistering style on his Truth Social platform, claiming, "I hate Taylor Swift," prompting, "I hate Taylor Swift, I hate her the most," prompting Brittany, 29, to question if she will continue to endorse his campaign. She's questioning her support for Donald Trump after he lashed out at Taylor, saying he hates her, a source exclusively revealed to DailyMail.com. Britney Mahomes has been left deeply bothered by Donald Trump's public attack on her close friend Taylor Swift and is feeling reluctant to show support for the former president. "There's no reason your brain is fully developed and you hate to see others doing well." Following the presidential debate on September 10th, Taylor revealed in a lengthy Instagram post that she would be voting for Kamala in November. She did not attack or call out Trump personally, but she signed her backing of Harris with "Childless Cat Lady," it being a reference to Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who said in 2021 interview with Tucker Carlson that the U.S. is being run by Democrats, corporate oligarchs, and a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. Taylor's also encouraged millions of her followers to do their own research on the election and register to vote with the link she shared at vote.gov on her Instagram stories, sharing her grid post. Hundreds of thousands of people, as mentioned before, 338, clicked on the link from Swift's story. Fans feared Britney's apparent endorsement of Trump's policies could lead to an awkward tension with fellow Chiefs wag Taylor, who has publicly expressed disdain for Trump in the past. While the pair have been seen together attending the U.S. Open with their partners and were at Patrick's 29th birthday bash this weekend, Taylor has not been pictured in the same suite as Britney at any Chiefs game so far this season. Taylor returned to Arrowhead and was sat apart from Britney for the second consecutive week, despite previously being joined at the hip to cheer their men on last season. Taylor has been dating tight end Travis Kelce, as most people know. She arrived at the game earlier in that day with her mother, Andrea, and brother, Austin, and singer Danielle Hamm. While Taylor did not sit with Britney for the second week, she has sat with Tariah Gordon, the fiance of wide receiver Mecole Hardman. Tariah could be seen celebrating with the pop star in their suite as the Kansas City moved to 2-0. Okay. All right, man. Look, all I can say about this, I think probably the funniest part to me is someone using the meme from Community when Britta is like, "I can excuse racism, but I can't excuse, abuse of animals." And then you have Shirley go, "You can excuse racism." And people said the same thing. "I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at bullying Taylor Swift." And then people be like, "You can excuse racism. What the fuck is your problem?" Look, man, I just don't have any love for Britney Mahomes. I for half a second, they got me. They got me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. I watched quarterback, and I really got to see a more human side of Britney and not the annoying part of throwing water on people and being shrill and screaming. When they ask, "Yo, what's Patrick's favorite food?" "Fried chicken, fried steak." Like, there's something about it that about her that just rubs me the wrong way. But I will say the only thing where I will give her a little backing for at least, maybe rescinding her support of Trump is the idea that we already know that there has been a surge of violence in this political season. Trump has now had 2 assassination attempts had at him, let alone even without the politics being involved. There have been 2 separate incidences of violence or almost violence involving Taylor Swift. The first being a dance class in the UK with kids that someone came and ended up hurting and killing folks. And then there was a major terror threat that was supposed to happen, I believe, in Prague. It was in Europe, I believe Prague, that she had to cancel shows because she didn't want people to get hurt, and was genuinely traumatized by it, because that is the one thing, especially after Ariana dealt with the bombing herself years ago while in the UK. Taylor has a massive fear that, like, she is putting people's lives at risk just even by performing. So for him to say, I hate Taylor Swift, and to know how radicalized a lot of his supporters are, there are a lot of folks that obviously have made it very clear that they don't give an F. Bro, you didn't need to do that. Who cares if you don't if you don't like her, you hate her, or whatever. Keep it to yourself. Why are you such a petulant fucking child? I think that's the part where I don't understand people. People can call it Trump derangement syndrome. People can talk about, his policies, whatever. Who wants a petulant child to be the leader of America? Honestly, that is what a child. I hate Taylor Swift. You're a 70-plus-year-old man, 78, I think, 76, whatever the fuck, bro. Grow up. Fucking Christ. I'm clearly tired. I normally would avoid going too deep into this, but I do genuinely worry that the climate keeps getting hotter and hotter, and I don't mean that, like the actual climate of the planet, but like the political climate, the violent climate is just getting hotter, man. And I don't want to see any more violence. I don't want to see any more fighting and stuff like that. And when people with this kind of platform who have instilled so much division is saying shit like that, and there are people that already have said that they don't like her, but now if they're super Trump fans and they see this, they'd be like, I do hate that. You ruin football. Like, she's already expressed how she's just trying to live her life and play music and be there for her fans and her family, and people hate her for it. And I may not be a fan per se of her music, but I am a fan of her as a person. I got to work the AMAs a long time ago, not a long time. It was 2019, right before the pandemic, and she was there. She was probably one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. The only thing she cared about was putting on a good show. She thanked every single person that helped her. I was working the dressing rooms that day and making sure talent was getting where they needed to go and got the things that they needed. And the only thing she asked is that we just take care of her dad. Just make sure her dad was having a good time. If he needed anything, that we take care of him. That's it. But she thanked all of us individually, man. She's a good person. She is. So, like, I can understand where there are people not just involved with Taylor Swift, with fans of any sort of thing, a sports team, a musical artist, whatever, that they can be annoying or they can be a little too invasive. Like the things that Chaperone has been going through with people forcibly kissing her and stalking her dad. Same things have happened to Taylor. She couldn't go to a friend's wedding without thousands of Swifties showing up and almost ruining the wedding and things like, and her own set of stalkers and everything else. I need people to calm the fuck down. These parasocial relationships aren't cool. And I also need people to just stop being so antagonistic, man. Let people like what they want to like. At the same time, to all these super fans of everything, it's part of why I've kind of cooled it on the Cowboys myself. Like, I still love them, but like, we have got to get a little bit more in touch with reality and stop being so obsessive with celebrities and entertainment and all this kind of stuff and live in reality. I think that's part of the reason why we're in so much trouble, is because we yell at each other over the internet over the littlest things, like stuff like that. And then it gets much worse over the bigger things, like this election and Gaza and everything else, man. So everybody take a chill pill. Let people like what they like. Stop being so goddamn annoying. If you're really into the thing that you're into, that's awesome. Find the other people that are into it with you. Don't constantly shove it down their throat. That's, again, why I don't talk about the Cowboys as much as I do. But at the same time, let's not get in people's face and yell at them and threaten them and all that because they like something. It's unnecessary. And let's also not be petulant children and talking about, I hate Taylor Swift. Okay, then go to your room and play fucking video games, bitch. Shut up. Tell me what you think in the comments, man. I'm sorry. I'm cranky because it's late. It's like 2:45 in the morning and I got to get to work. So that's the end of the Blerd Breakdown. Thank you so much for watching, man. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment on any of the stories you saw here today. Let me know what you thought about all of that, man. I will be here again on Thursday with another Blerd Breakdown. You'll also see me over on Capes and Cows Live now, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time on the Christian Harloff channel with myself, Koi Jeanjru, and Christian Harloff. I did an episode of Game Time on the Game Time Sports Network with John Roca. We talked about week 2 of football. We will maybe be doing a Spill the Tequila. I also got Bel Air Season 3. That review is coming. Again, lots of stuff going on. I've been very fortunate with a lot of auditions, so I had to push back our review. Sorry to Matt Thomas, who will be on that with me. But we are looking to, get the pre-production done on Wednesday and shoot it on Friday and hopefully out early next week. So all of that, and let alone the fact that The Penguin is dropping, Agatha All Along is dropping. I'll be covering both of those, and there's a lot of other stuff coming out the rest of the year as well, man, so you don't want to miss any of it. Again, hit that subscribe button so you know what the deal is. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you on the flip, man. Peace.